John Bernthal is the greatest Punisher of all time.
This is an episode of frustration, right? Like, both of them are reaching kind of a boiling point.
So listen to this. Something like this low-key happened in real life.
How much does Daredevil need?
I'll take it one step further.
Greetings, Palaxians. Today on the Bounty Board, we're discussing episode 4 of Daredevil Born Again and the return of the Punisher. So kick up that warp drive and let's punch it.
Welcome back to the Guardians of the Palaxy podcast. My name is Whitney Van Laningham, and I am here today with two of my very best friends in the whole wide world, Tommy Bechtold and Eddie Villanuevo. What's going on, you guys?
Yo, we finally got Eddie. We collected an Eddie.
We collected Eddie like an Infinity Stone.
Exactly. It's funny because I've been on a couple episodes with Whit and with Brett, and I'm like, man, I want to hang out with Tommy too. I want to hang out with, with MT. I want to see these guys. And it's like, usually the schedules are kind of, jumbled. So, I mean, I'll take Tommy this one, and hopefully MT, after he brushes off his junior high fan fiction scripts from Power Rangers to send to Disney.
Yes.
Junior high fanfic. I think you mean very current and recent fanfic. He still writes that shit. You know he does.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
We love you, MT. Power Rangers fanfic for life.
All the ones that have him and the Pink Ranger, whoever it may be, end up together at the end of the episode. So
That's
absolutely.
right.
They end up forming the Megazord, just the two of them, if you know what I mean.
Which we all know that Pink Ranger is always played by Haley Steinfeld. So
Absolutely she is.
Oh
Just
my
saying.
God, could you?
That's
could
the
you
only
imagine?
casting that makes sense.
And Lord Zed is played by Josh Allen, and that is going to just be how it has to work. Well, Eddie, I'm glad I could finally be here. I did have to make a quick stop to my home planet, Tully Hill Rehabilitation Center in Syracuse, New York, and that led me away from you. But we're back now. Now, MT, I think, is just sick, but if he needs help, we're going to help him out. No, I'm just kidding. He's fine.
MT is sick this week. He has a tummy ache. Prayers for tummy aches, man, because
Prayers up.
MT is being so brave about this tummy ache while he's at home right now. Last week, Puggy had 4 fucking teeth removed from his little head. So I was freaking out and crying. So this week, I'm back. MT's out. It's okay. It's gonna be okay. We're gonna have a great time. I'm so happy that you guys are here.
Yeah, it's never a great sign for a podcast when I'm the stable constant.
It's true. That's
member.
like
So, Whitney, we need you back. We need you back, and we need you holding it down because I am falling apart right now.
Tommy's like, there's only so much stability I can handle.
It's like how people can tell when there's going to be a financial recession because all the strip clubs are empty. That's what it's like when Tommy shows up to the podcast. Out of the strip clubs and into the podcast, baby. Let's go.
There you go. The strippers are now doing ads for Blue Chew, so that's it's bad. So
God, as they should.
As they absolutely should.
As is anyone's God-given right.
We've got a great sponsor coming up later in the episode. I do want to mention, of course, we'll be thanking them. We'll roll for that. But before that, we got to talk Daredevil.
We have to talk Daredevil, you guys. What an episode.
I personally was a huge fan of this episode. It was a little more deconstructed, stripped down. There wasn't a lot of fighting, smashing, but there was courtroom intrigue. And as I said on Screen Crush, my personal favorite, Matt Murdock being the most obnoxious piece of shit lawyer
ever.
Fighting for the little guy, but just so punchable.
Yeah.
So punchable.
I think this is the saltiest I've ever seen Matt Murdock be as his own persona outside of Daredevil. The fact is that we got somebody who's now starting to add a little salt to his, responses and being a little bit more, confrontational, especially when we get some of those, confrontations between him and the cops. And it's just like, I like this, this sassy Matt Murdock. I like the sass. I like it.
My favorite sassy Matt Murdock fact from this episode was that he also hated Secret Invasion, the television show. Love when Leroy's like, what if it was just a Skrull? And he goes, nope. Nope.
Well, and like we talked about this last week, MT and Brandon and I, and it was like, this is the type of stuff that the functionality of having a courtroom drama built into your show is like, you can infuse these details of other things. Like, I still am waiting for an episode where Matt Murdock litigates a jilted lover crime of passion from the snap. Like, a woman appears back on Earth and finds her husband in bed with another woman, or vice versa. And it's like, and there's and a crime ensues. It's like, introduce the drama of and the stakes of these things that have happened in this universe. But just casually mentioning that implies to me that there was an influx, 6 months ago in New York City of like petty criminals using the Skrull defense, like the insanity plea, like where it's just like, how can we prove that this wasn't a Skrull, and getting all these legal technicalities and like crime run amok over like a scapegoat. So like just the exasperation in Matt Murdock's voice, or like just this kind of wry, like, nope.
Yeah.
It was just, like,
nope.
No one's buying that anymore. And like, I thought that was a brilliant little detail.
Yeah. I love also how they're to your point, Tommy, how much they're focusing primarily on, especially in this episode, the more technical aspects of like the legal system, and how him needing to bargain for, whether probation or how much time spent in jail for the gentleman at the beginning of the episode, or even him having to go out and like do his own investigation for, bullet casings and things of that sort. I feel like it's leaning more towards like the MCU's version of Law and Order. And I love it.
I was going to say that too.
I was like, all we need is the doon and like Hell's Kitchen, 7:15 p.m. blah blah blah.
Exactly.
That's all we're missing. And I could see seasons upon seasons upon seasons. All we need is just a cameo from Ice-T, and we're good.
Yeah.
God damn it! This is why we have Eddie on the podcast. He just gets me, okay? He just gets me as a person, and I love him so much. That's exactly what I was going to say.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to say I would just absolutely fucking love to see Matt Murdock with Ice-T as the cop he has to work with in that episode. And Ice-T's a good cop, so Matt won't beat him up or anything. I think it'll just be really funny.
Oh, heck yeah. Have him come out. So you're saying we need to get these Skrulls off the street and just have a great back and forth between Ice-T and Matt Murdock, and I'd be sold.
Oh, abso-fucking-lutely.
You sold me on five seasons of just that alone. But like, we also got like these two men that have violent natures, right? You have Daredevil and you have Kingpin, Wilson Fisk, who's now the mayor. And it's like, this is an episode of frustration, right? Like both of them are reaching kind of a boiling point, but instead of giving us some sort of fight scene, they both just kind of erupt, one at the Latverian consulate and one in Frank Castle's beautiful studio loft apartment / armory. And it was just interesting because we know the potential for violence in this series, and it carries that torch from the original Netflix series of these like brutal fight scenes where the characters are getting exhausted from punching each other and stabbing each other. And to take an episode and kind of pack in some character growth and development, or character regression, really, it's like Matt Murdock cannot process the grief that he has over Foggy, and like, Frank kind of calls him out on it, and what happens? You see him like literally lose it to the point where he almost assaults Frank Castle, which was, I don't think anyone would agree it would be a good move.
No.
And then, Wilson Fisk is like, you see kind of the opposite. It's like he's at his point where you're like, he's going to kill Michael Gandolfini right now. And instead, he has this moment of like mercy with him where he's like, I'm not firing you. You're staying on board, but I still am the Kingpin. So I have to tell you, like, if you do anything else I don't like, I'm going to kill you.
Yeah. Which is, it's the subtlety of how that scene played out, where he doesn't say, if you do anything like that again, it'll be the last thing you do under my administration. He just simply says, it'll be the last thing you ever do. Yes. And I love how they make sure that it's like just highlighted that is the last thing he tells him before the scene transitions to something else. And it's like, we get it. And I feel like there's such an aura in this episode of the inevitability of broken promises. We have this, effort on Wilson Fisk, who is working to try to be the good mayor, and he's doing X, Y, and Z, and he's promising that he's not going to go back to other ways. But the inevitable fact is that at the end of the episode, we clearly see he's not changed. And then much like with Matt Murdock, how he states that he's done, he's no longer doing X, Y, and Z, but then he still has a shrine, if you will, of the things of the past that he will always have there to revisit, which ultimately, as long as you have it, it'll always be there. So he goes to it, and it's the inevitability of him knowing and remembering what he's doing and what he used to do, and ultimately the inevitability of him breaking that promise and going back to it. I love the overall theme of this and how it caters to the raw, sincerity of what Marvel had brought us within the Netflix series and the Netflix brands, and ultimately carrying it over here and making sure they don't lose the grit, they don't lose the reality, they don't lose a sense of that connection where we actually see ourselves in that world. As much as we admire Captain America, or we admire, Doctor Strange, or whomever is on the screen, and we see these people in the realm of Hell's Kitchen, where Matt Murdock and the Punisher, Frank Castle, and people like Foggy Nelson, all these are all people we can relate to. And when they're in the grit, we feel like we're in the grit with them. And that's the unique, special case for these types of series.
Speaking of Special K, I laughed so fucking hard when that guy was like, I just did a bunch of tequila shots and ketamine last night, and that's why I fucked up your reputation, and now they're calling you Mayor Garbage. What? Yeah. I did not think that they would be like, yeah, we were dropping K at the club on a Disney fucking Plus show. That's truly
right.
Well, we also got an F-bomb from a child at the beginning of the episode.
From the child about the fucking cops. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yes. But I want to say, I posited last week that like there's something beyond this, I think, for Michael Gandolfini's character. Like I don't think that he did that by accident. I think that there is more to this character. It reminds me kind of running parallel to Boardwalk Empire, but like the entire last season is all about, Steve Buscemi's character has this like young kid who's like obsessed with him, like a fan, like just like a Nucky Thompson fanboy sycophant. And in the end, it's revealed that Nucky killed his parents and that this kid has been just, worshiping him as a means to get close to him so that he can kill him.
Yeah.
And it's I'm getting the same exact vibes from Michael Gandolfini's character that like this is a kid who Kingpin ruined his life, killed his parents, put his parents in jail, did something that ruined his life, and he has taken this job to take Wilson Fisk down. That is my theory. That's just what I'm running with. And this to me propelled that forward because it's like this is a smart kid, right? Yeah. Like he got high up in Kingpin's administration very early on. He knows how to grease the tracks. He obviously knows how to pull on Wilson Fisk's heartstrings even to a certain degree. Like he's able to like de-escalate the Kingpin from a place where he's like ready to break some shit and hurt some people to, kind of being like, buddy, we all make mistakes and you're loyal, and he mentions all of that. And to me, it's like, I've never been more convinced that like Michael Gandolfini's character is laying in wait to try to do, I don't think he'll succeed, but I do believe that like this season ends with him, trying to kill him. I don't think he's going to try and take him down via scandal. I think he's there to try to get revenge on Wilson Fisk. That's just my theory.
That actually totally tracks for me because I don't know. He didn't seem that fucked up to me while he was at the club. No. He kept being like, I just want to go home. Bitch, I've been more fucked up than that at a Comic-Con party. Like, and I didn't.
I think we all have. I mean, let's just be honest. We all have.
Let's be real.
Guilty.
Guilty as charged. Yeah. Matt Murdock, take me to prison, daddy. I think that's a very, very interesting theory.
I will take it one step further. I will say, what about the idea that Michael Gandolfini isn't someone's son, but he's actually working with like the CIA or the FBI as a plant in the administration who is also corroborating with the dead Foggy Nelson, and they are working to take him down because of the connections between Bullseye and him, as well as all the other hits. And so he's working from within to try to bring him fully to justice in some form or fashion.
I like that.
The fact is, we know they've already confirmed Foggy Nelson is going to come back in the fall season. There's the storylines that corroborate the fact that there might be some truth to him not being dead fully. And maybe it also includes like some collaboration with Bullseye as far as to help with that, make it look like a hit, so that way he can work with the feds to get out of jail and to, find extradition to some other country. That way we get more Bullseye. Ultimately, to help bring down the Kingpin once and for all. I feel like that would also be a good route to go.
The unfolding of that is wild, and I would love to see it.
Yeah, so, seriously.
I think to me, it's just like my spidey sense says that there's much more to Michael Gandolfini's character than just this bumbling high-level aide.
That is 100% fact. That there's something about him that for some reason he knows how to wiggle and worm his way in the good graces of somebody who is vulnerable enough in that area, in that kind of space of he wants to change. He's going to look for those types of things. So why not give him what he's looking for and stay in there?
Yeah, he provided him with the exact opportunity to prove that he's a changed man, and he did. But he also ingratiated himself closer to the Kingpin and moved up a level somehow.
Yeah.
Like it just felt way too intelligently executed to have been a slip of the tongue. Speaking of slipping the tongue, I want to talk about Matt Murdock's
Oh.
wild flirtations with that legal clerk,
Yeah.
or that DA or the assistant DA. My God, Matt, you still pine for Karen. You've got a girlfriend.
Mm-hmm.
My God, how much ass does Daredevil need?
How many more bitches in Hell's Kitchen do you need to fuck? You have
My God,
just ass on ass on ass. No, actually, Matt Murdock stole my fucking pickup line from preschool. So this is a true story. When I was 3 years old, the first time I ever kissed a girl, I knew I was gay very early. So this was the first time I had ever wanted to kiss a girl. Her name was Danielle. She was in my preschool class. And my big move was I went up to her and I said, "Hey, Danielle, what'd you have for breakfast?" And she said, "Oatmeal. What'd you have for breakfast?" And I said, "French toast." "Wow. Oatmeal sounds really good right now. Do you want to taste each other's breakfast?" And then we kissed. Yeah. And I'm like, "Matt, you fucking stole my line. Holy shit." He's just like, "I can smell what you had for breakfast. Do you want to taste it on me instead?" Yeah, Matt.
My God.
Yeah, she does. Slip her a tongue. Slip the tongue right in there.
Good Lord, Matt. But please, for crying out loud, you've got a girlfriend at home that you're like, I like when you're here.
Right.
I am currently trying to fuck the assistant DA, but I also
That's
like
just
when you're here.
polyamorous, man. He's fucking everyone, and he doesn't care.
Let's not forget, too, this is the same guy who banged She-Hulk.
Yeah.
That's true.
He's also fucking She-Hulk in this time.
And Rosario Dawson at one point in time as well.
Mm-hmm.
True.
I mean, this man has no stipulations as to like how many. He's very poly. So, I mean, all to him, I'm never going to yuck anyone's yum. You know, all the power to Matt. It's just the more and more we learned about his like sexual proclivities to like how many people, the more and more I'm like, he really is a hero of the people. I get it. I get it.
He's
the people's dick. He's just showing up, swinging that schlong for justice. I support that.
Swinging that schlong. There you go.
And I gotta say, all credit to the actress they cast. The sexual chemistry between those two was like off the charts.
Oh, it really
I'm watching
was.
on an Intel ThinkPad, and I'm like, Jesus Christ! Do I need to watch this on a private browser? My God!
Again, going back to something that Whitney said earlier. This is all on Disney Plus. We are getting all of the and there's no like sugarcoating it. There's no like glossing over it. Everything is out there in the open. I'm waiting for like the whole, you know, the wife swap, you know, Disney Plus edition and all these other series to start coming out because I'm liking the direction where Disney Plus is going. Just saying.
Yeah, a little more sexually liberated, a little more sexually evolved. Speaking of sexually evolved, we have a fantastic sponsor today that we want to thank.
Oh, we sure do. Fistful of mutton chops. Now that's a good ad.
There you go.
Whitney, facial hair is back.
In a big way.
And for some of us, it never left. And for some of us, it didn't come until we were 30. But here's the thing. All of my girlfriends, they can't get enough of it either. But what do they do when their fists are full of hugging me? That's where Fistful of Mutton Chops comes in. This is a prosthetic arm that hangs from your neck that allows you to grasp mutton chops and hold on for dear life while you're holding on to your dear wife.
It was actually invented in the 1600s by Mary Todd Lincoln. I don't know if that's when Abe Lincoln was alive. I could have my dates wrong.
Well, we all know that he's a vampire hunter, but she's a vampire.
Yeah, absolutely.
So she's been alive for thousands of years.
Yeah.
And when you're married to Abe Lincoln, there's only one thing that you know, and that's that you want a fistful of mutton chops. Mary Todd Lincoln, what a girl boss.
Anyway, back to Daredevil. Born again. I am born again. Not Christian. I'm born again as a, I don't know, whatever. I don't know where that was going.
You're an MCU revivalist.
Absolutely. Now, we talked last week, you guys weren't here, but we were talking about the ominous warning. What's the Wilson Fisk's British henchman's name?
His name's Buck Cashman.
Buck Cashman. That's a fake name if I've ever heard one. Buck Cashman. He says, I don't work for the mayor, I work for the man. But it now appears as though the man may be Vanessa Fisk.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know that I believe the man appears to be the one pulling all the strings in the criminal element of Wilson Fisk's empire appears to be his wife, Vanessa, who no longer has the burdensome guilt of an affair with her young lover, who is, Adam, who's being kept as a zoo animal for Wilson Fisk's entertainment in a brig of some sort.
Okay, did you guys notice that there were literally 3 different layers in this episode? We visited not 1, not 2, but 3 secret layers. We have Frank's secret lair. We have Fisk's secret lair. And then we have Muse's secret lair. It was just a triple secret lair, and I loved it.
Technically, and then you also have Daredevil's secret lair where he keeps his helmets and so forth.
A bonus layer.
You know, like when they say like 1.5 baths, Matt's lair is like the half bath of layers, in my opinion.
Yeah, it is.
It's the ADUs of layers. We get it.
Okay, so fun fact about the scene where Fisk is beating the shit out of Adam for fucking his wife. This is so cool. So listen to this. Something like this low-key happened in real life. Buddy Cianci, Buddy Cianci, the mayor of Providence, Rhode Island for over 2 decades, was charged with kidnapping and torturing a man he believed was having an affair with his wife back in 1984. Cianci pled no contest, resigned and disgraced, and then got reelected in 1991. America.
Wow.
And I read that in a fucking Cosmopolitan article of all places. And that is such a cool fun fact.
And yet your least favorite comedian will say people can be canceled. No, they can't. You can kidnap a man and beat him half to death and still be mayor again. So this is a land of uncancelable assholes. And I gotta say, it makes that argument pretty thin in my opinion. The therapy element of the Fisk relationship is so fascinating because it's like, you know, couples therapy is always so strange. I mean, it's wonderfully effective, but it's like, you know, most couples I know that have been to therapy, usually it dissolves because one person just feels massively bullied by the therapist and the other partner. And it's like, in this case, it's like the therapist is wise enough to know that like Wilson Fisk is clearly a terrifying dude, but also like would be wise to like remain on Vanessa's good side too, because as we know from movies and TV, therapists are expendable. You know, if you don't want to, if you want to terminate treatment, sometimes you terminate the therapist. So,
and then you get Matt being like, I just care about you so much and I don't know what I'd do without you in my life. And I'm like, that's foreshadowing. They're going to at least maim her or attack her or scare the shit out of her. I don't know if they'll kill her yet. I think it's a little too early for a therapist's death, but I do think that they're going to freak her the fuck out.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I also wonder if she's a potential target for Muse.
Yeah,
because Muse is eventually going to take someone we care about, right? That's how that character is going to be brought into the forefront. And it's like, there's a lack of side characters in this show, like really meaningful 3-dimensional supporting cast. There's like, you know, most of the scenes take place with Matt or Wilson Fisk. You know, Michael Gandolfini probably, I think, is the only person in this episode who has a scene that does not have Wilson Fisk or Matt Murdock in it, like, you know, other than the book ending of Muse. But it's like, we don't have a ton of characters for which for the Muse to pluck down or you know, kidnap that we would be worried about, right? Like right now, it's basically Matt Murdock's girlfriend.
Matt Murdock's girlfriend, and then like his lawyer partners at
his work wife.
Yeah, his work wife and his and his actual girlfriend.
Yeah, his work wife, his actual girlfriend, the cop that he uses to investigate the retired cop,
Cherry.
And then we also got Karen might come back into the fold sometime soon.
Sure. And we know they love to torture Karen Page in the Daredevil comics.
Yeah.
So you know,
it's like their
being a blood palette for Muse's paintings would just be another rung on the ladder of Karen Page's suffering. So.
Dude, and we also just like, we have to talk about seeing Punisher because we were all right. Eddie, I'm also sure that you thought this. We were all right the other day when we were like, oh, Punisher's like not going to be happy that the cops are appropriating his logo to be racist. And the 100%. First thing he says is, what a bunch of fake fucking fanboys. And I was like, yes, that's exactly. Like, I would pay so much money to watch like a hidden camera footage show of a bunch of cops who are racist and horrible being forced to watch this episode and how mad they get.
All them taking razor blades to their trucks to scrape
off the Punisher logo. Oh man, he's not what we thought he was.
He's not for us anymore.
He's not as racist as we thought he was supposed to be.
Just compilation videos on YouTube of people driving by and seeing cops at their home like scraping it off the back of their truck. Goddamn, John Bernthal doesn't like
burning their back the blue Punisher shirts.
That's
like
exactly
the way people
it. Burning them in just like
jerseys.
A big pile in the street.
Like the way Cleveland people burned LeBron James's jersey when he left for Miami. They're just putting a bunch of Punisher shirts in a barrel and being like, "You turned your back on us."
But it was good. It's good scene. Like I was to be honest, I was a little concerned. Like, you know, John Bernthal's. It's been a while since he's played the role, since he's been back as we've seen him as the Punisher. So having him come back into it, I was kind of concerned just as far as like how he's going to be able to jump back into the mindset of Frank Castle, be able to step into that role seamlessly. And I just got to say, John Bernthal is a fucking badass. Like him just appearing immediately just evoked Frank Castle vibes. And then the moment he started talking, everything he was saying was just like, John Bernthal is the fucking greatest Punisher of all time. I mean, let's just be honest. I absolutely adore his role and the fact that he's taken it and made it his own, but still given it enough heart to still be unique from the other two. You know, nothing against Ray Stevenson or Thomas Jane, but John Bernthal just makes it and it works.
And this is a guy who really could use fistful of mutton chops because the beard he grew out in that layer is a lot. It is thick. He is rocking it, and I approve.
Yep. And he's still rocking it in real life, but now he has a shaved head for something. I saw him at like the premiere of The Accountant too.
That's
and
interesting.
he's got the beard is long and lustrous, and then he's got a shaved head. So
very interesting. I wonder what that's for. Cool.
Maybe he's playing a hunky Santa. Who knows?
Maybe he just wanted to change it up for the new year. Who's to say?
Why not? You know, a lot of cool people got their hair cut in the new year.
Like Tommy.
Yes. Punisher's return is a welcome return for me. I'm very excited about the special presentation. I'm also excited about whatever those Netflix show, those characters seemingly are all heavily rumored to return in season 2. And like, where they're going to go with that? Like, is there a standalone movie to be made a la The Mandalorian and Grogu, where you just kind of bring all these characters from the TV shows in a feature film that is released theatrically? We know Marvel has, you know, a couple of openings on their schedule in the coming years, 2 unannounced movies that have slates. One is, you know, God willing, the Blade movie that seems to be impossible to come out, but the clock is ticking. And, you know, I said this on another show, but it's like a street level Marvel movie is going to be a lot cheaper and quicker to produce without, you know, giant spaceships and alien invasions and crazy mystical powers that require all this, you know, animating the color blasts and things like that. It's like you get Luke Cage and Jessica Jones and Punisher and Daredevil, and fine, Iron Fist can come too. But like you get the 5 of them. It's like that movie can be shot in 4 months and put out in 10 months. You know what I mean? Like it's like that's a more doable thing. And it's like these characters are clearly still very popular.
Yeah, and, absolutely.
You know, I wouldn't be surprised if we get something, you know, we're getting the special presentation. So whether it's another special presentation or a spin-off show, I wouldn't be surprised if we're seeing a lot more of these characters, you know, in the coming years. So that to me is a good thing, because the second John Bernthal was back as Punisher, I was back in. I'm like, yes, this guy. I was never out, but like I was pulled back in.
We're so back, baby. We're so back.
Yeah, I'm thinking I'm back. Yeah, I can't ever not say that. So happy 500th time I've done that bit on a podcast. But the opening scene is, you know, kind of rushed. It's you know, one of those things where it's like you can see where the episodes are being kind of Frankenstein together between reshot episodes and the stuff that they had shot pre-writer's strike. But we get to see the young girl Ayala's niece, who's going to become White Tiger. And you know, they certainly didn't make it subtle, right? Like, it's like this girl is clearly going to put the White Tiger suit on, put the magical amulet around her neck, and go out and become a vigilante. Like, she's been vigilante pilled, you know.
Just if fuck the police was a person, that's what she is right now. Like, she's gonna she's gonna fuck him up. An interesting thing that I read about a part of the beginning of the episode is that this episode was intended to be shot as like a one take. Like it was supposed to be like Birdman or that one episode of The Bear.
Oh, interesting.
So it was supposed to be shot like that. And the only thing that like remains from like the original way that they were going to edit it is like the beginning transition. So I thought that was pretty cool. Pretty interesting little fun fact about television.
Oh, that would have been interesting. Cool. Yeah. Especially with the following of him throughout, like doing the investigation and you know, and then the whole situation with from Fisk to and Vanessa and the therapy sessions to that upstairs meetup at his apartment and stuff like that. Like it would have been interesting to see the follow through on all that.
Oh, for sure. I think it would have been very cool.
Overall, I thought this was a really solid episode. Like I said, you know, I know some people are probably going to be unhappy with the lack of action, but I feel like we have been served up a sufficient amount of action appetizers to know that the coming weeks are going to lead to plenty of fisticuffs and ruffian behavior that we treasure so much. So why not let us get some sweet litigation and, negotiation of short-term prison stints done. And the true double F of the MCU, Fiddle Faddle. It's never been Fantastic Four. It's always been Fiddle Faddle.
Yep.
That's the first family of the MCU.
First of
the
all,
MCU product that's so innocent it can still get you put in jail.
Fuck the system that perpetuates a society where people have to go hungry enough to steal Fiddle Faddle. Fuck a system that if you get thrown in jail for a petty crime, even if it's only for a few days, you are so fucked that you might miss your court appearances or your appointments or whatever the fuck when you're out. Then you don't have food stamps. Then you can't eat. And that's because the system is very, very broken, very fucked up.
Yeah.
I thought it was incredibly brave of Disney actually to put that on a Disney Plus show.
To that point, where I don't think that Disney is like, they're kind of like towing the line of like stating the obvious. It's like, yes, this is a show about a superhero vigilante who wears a costume, but like there are crooked cops out there who are, who make mistakes or do bad things, and then there are consequences and they try to cover them up. And it's like pointing a light on that shouldn't be controversial. It's like,
it shouldn't.
We should all agree that like, yeah, crooked cops that cover up their actions should be brought to justice. Maybe not have their necks broken in a studio apartment by Matt Murdock.
Yeah, maybe not that.
But it's okay. It's a fictional show. Now, back to the Daredevil. I want to, kind of, before we leave, talk about Muse. So we have at the beginning of the episode, we have we are introduced to Muse carrying unconscious body of someone who's not a corpse, because we see they're alive at the end and being harvested for their sweet, sweet paint, which is what I call blood now.
Yeah.
The sweet paint. And this is almost like a Batman serial killer villain that is in the MCU. It's like, it's kind of a bone chilling, like, this is a tortured artist who kidnaps and kills people. Because, we see a couple bodies on hooks too, up in his lair. So what do we think? Are we kicking off a Muse arc here? We've got 5 episodes left. Is Muse going to be a one episode thing, or is Muse going to be a prolonged kind of disturbance in the Daredevil universe?
I feel like Muse is at least going to be a 2-season long threat. I feel like the main focus of this one of this season is to just make the audience obviously aware that he is here, but the focus is still going to be on Matt Murdock and ultimately Wilson Fisk coming to where they know they truly are deep down inside, and kind of coming to that climactic moment, of Marvel ejaculation. So I feel like we're going to get to that point first before we move to fully seeing how much of a threat Muse is going to be overall to specifically Matt Murdock and Wilson Fisk. I feel like it's going to kind of culminate into a season ender of Muse is going to kidnap Vanessa, and Wilson Fisk is going to have to go to Matt to put on, the mantle to become Daredevil to help find Vanessa.
I like that. Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. Because really right now, in terms of candidates to be kidnapped by Muse, we have Daredevil's therapist girlfriend and we have Vanessa, right? Like, or maybe his work wife. Like, those are like the three characters. If it is a female, obviously it could be a male, but it's seemingly to agitate Matt or Fisk, it's going to have to be someone that they love or someone very close to them. And we really only have, those 3 candidates, and Karen Page out in LA somewhere. Out in LA, which I hope she doesn't run into She-Hulk, because
that'll be a little awkward. No, my hope.
They'll be breaking the fourth wall on that one.
my very strong hope is that if they do kidnap Matt's girlfriend, that Vanessa and Wilson are both like, that's our fucking therapist, you piece of shit idiot. And then they have to go get her back. Dude, nobody fucks with our fucking family therapist. Fuck that shit. She's helping us get past our commitment and betrayal issues. I cheated on him and she's helping me figure that out. No. That's how I want her to approach the whole Muse kidnapping situation.
I have a question for you guys. And since we mentioned Vanessa, do you guys feel, and mind you, this is a little bit separate than the Muse conversation, but do you guys feel like maybe Vanessa is the one who's behind all the gangs still having their little things going on behind Wilson's Fisk's back.
Yes.
Like,
I think she's the
2
man.
million %.
Yeah.
I think she's the man. Yeah.
I think
This last episode just kind of gave me the vibes of like, she's still in control. Like, even though she's the wife, the one who's grieving her, her affair partner, wherever he may be, quote unquote, and all that, she is still very much in control of what's going on in the city. So.
I'm going to quote a universal truth presented to us first in the stunning cinematic masterpiece, My Big Fat Greek Wedding. The man may be the head of the house, but the woman is the neck, and she can turn the head any way she wants. I made it sound a lot more sinister than the mom on My Big Fat Greek Wedding, but that's what I pretty much think is happening between Vanessa and Wilson. I think he doesn't know just how much she's running everything behind the scenes.
Well, speaking of running behind the scenes, we want to thank our producer Brett for producing this episode and for editing together what will be a masterpiece, I'm sure. We want to thank all of you for tuning into the Palaxy this week. We want to thank our guest, Eddie Villanueva.
Thank you. It was always fun to come back to the nerd family. So,
well, one day we'll get all three of us on here, and you can.
We promise.
You can finally see a fully operational Palaxy system. And Whitney, I want to thank you for being just my best friend.
Dude, I want to thank you for being my best friend. I want to thank Eddie for being fucking awesome. I absolutely love every single time that he comes on this show because we have the best fucking time every single time. So pals, take care of your pals. Love your pals. Check in on your pals, especially if they have a tummy ache, especially if their dog is having tooth surgery. Those are times when my pals have been there for me this week, and we will be there for MT with his tummy ache as well. So we love you guys. Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.